Hello humans, it's just Martine. Welcome to a vlog. I'm a senior studying forensic psychology at a school in Florida. It's gonna be a crazy week in my life, starting by doing laundry at like 8 a.m. on a Monday morning because I traveled this weekend to see Harris, so I'm all out of whack. So I just threw on some clothes and now I'm gonna throw the rest of my clothes in the laundry. Let's do it.
The Stoic Challenge, a philosopher's guide to become tougher, calmer, and more resilient. In fact, Bill's new book really helped me through a huge setback I experienced recently. About a week before the holidays, I fell on the ice and fractured.
All right, it's 1 p.m. and I'm just back from lunch. I'm gonna cross some things off my to-do list while I fill you in. So basically, while I was doing laundry this morning, I also had office hours because the office for my organization is in the same building. Because once I put it in the dryer, there's like a long time I have to wait. So I leave it there and I do my office hours. And there I did a bunch of admin things, booked things, announced events, fun times. And then afterwards I got ready for class. In my class today, I had a huge presentation, but it felt very calm. Like I wasn't really worried about this presentation because this is a front-loaded class. And so my professor put most of the work earlier on in the semester. So the PowerPoint for this was due like a month and a half ago and the paper due around the same time. So I just kind of had to like briefly refresh my memory and then go in and say the things, like explain the few Supreme Court cases that I had. And I had some really interesting cases about juvenile courts, so it was like a fine time. And I got to class and this was really funny to me. My teacher was like trying to turn on the projector and nothing was happening. We had somebody stand on a table and like try to press it manually, whatever, nothing's working. She turns to me, she's like, I promise I'll get it to work, it'll be fine. And I'm like, I'm good. I have the materials I need to present, I'm fine. She calls IT and we expect them to come in and like refresh the batteries on the remote or like look at the system or something because we didn't know what was up. And instead they walk in with this huge ladder and an entirely new projector. And they were like, yeah, this room's projector is like no good, but the room's booked all day for classes, so we never have time to like come in here and fix it. So we're just gonna put this up now really quick. So we move the tables, we like bust out the ladder. They start taking the old projector down. And meanwhile, my classmates who are on Zoom, because some of us can still take a remote option if we have like certain excuses, they're like, what's happening? So my professor turns the camera to the guys like on the ladder to be like, yes, they're putting up an entirely new projector. And I'm standing there. I would have been sitting, but my chair was like around where they were putting the ladder, and my teacher was like, I don't want them to drop an entire projector on you, so let's move. So I moved and I was just standing there and I was talking to her about different things, and she was like, your presentation doesn't have too many Supreme Court cases, like it'll be fine. And again, I was like, chill. I was like, it'll happen, whatever. Anyway, they finally get it up. It wasn't perfect. It was like green and not well focused, but it was something. So we start my presentation. It was a pretty good presentation, like nothing of note happened. My classmates did appreciate my cases. They were like, oh my God, what happened? Which is always pretty fun to see the reactions to that. And then in spite of starting late because of the projector, it was the only time we've ever gotten out of that class early. So all in all, good. And then I had a little sandwich for lunch and now I'm here. I didn't actually check things off my to-do list while I was talking because I was busy storytelling. But now I'm going to set up at my other desk, quickly write a discussion post, and then try and break out the coziest vibes possible to study for the test that I have tomorrow. So happy Tuesday. It's almost time to leave for class. It's like 10:30 in the morning and I have a test in my class today in juvenile delinquency. So hoping that goes okay. I think I'm ready. I spent the morning getting ready, planning for tonight because I have an improv group that I'm helping to lead tonight. So I was like researching and stuff. I spent a while on the floor just like chilling. After I have this test today and I have lunch, then I have a meeting with my thesis advisor for which I did not make enough progress this week. And then I have to study for my social psych test that's tomorrow. That's the game plan. Test done. I walked into my advisor's office for my thesis meeting and I went, ugh. And he said, what did you say? And I said, ugh. And he said, what's wrong? And then we talked for the next like 10 minutes about how we were both very behind on our work, and then we went on our separate ways to both do our work. So here I am studying for my social psych test that's tomorrow, trying to put all this information in my brain. I know most of it's probably there, I just have to reactivate it. So I'm gonna stand here and read these to myself. Pro studying tip. This is how I study, especially for things like psychology classes, right? As I sit there with my notes, and instead of just reading it, being like, oh yeah, I'll read it out loud. First of all, the out loud is really important. And second of all, I'll tell myself stories about things. This works a couple of different ways. One, if I'm working on like a definition. So the first definition that I need to work on being like familiar with for this test is the definition of what a group is. And so my notes say several interdependent people who have emotional ties and interact regularly. So then I think about that. I think about how when you have a group, they're interdependent, right? So their emotions rely on one another's emotions. They rely on each other for different things, so they're interdependent. They have emotional ties because one of those things that they're interdependent on is the emotions. And then they interact pretty regularly. So I build this picture in my head of a group that emphasizes those three things. So like I can imagine a clock by them spinning around so that you think, oh, they interact regularly. We have some people like happy and some frowning. We know they have emotional ties, and then interdependent, so like holding each other up. That's a picture, and that's what I'll think of when I think of a group. So I'm telling myself that type of story. Then you have something where like there's a theory. So let's say like the temporal model of group membership, which is listed like right here. So it has all these different phases, and I'll think to myself of a time in my life in which I've gone through those phases, and I'll walk myself through that story. That's basically how I study for these types of classes. So I'm gonna do that for a long while, probably. It's 3 p.m. and I just did a solid 2 hours of work. I did like an hour of studying between talking to myself and then doing practice questions in my textbook, and then I did an hour of constructing the presentation that I'm giving on Friday. It's for my honor seminar class, and it's basically an update on my thesis. And since I'm working on putting my proposal together, it's ostensibly a draft of my whole proposal presentation. So it's taking a while to put together, but that's fine. Just listen to some One Direction and sang along while I worked on it and had 1,000 tabs open at once. And now we're gonna take a bit of a break. So to YouTube I go while I eat a snack. It's post improv. I caught up with Josh a little bit, and I'm gonna read before I fall asleep. Oh, I guess, did I ever mention I was going to improv? I think the last time I checked in with you, I was like, time to take a break. And now it's 7 hours later. It's 10 p.m. I checked in at like 3. That's crazy. Oops. Basically, between now and then, I relaxed a little. I got dinner, I shopped for my sister's birthday present, and then I went to improv and we made some stuff up. That's a wrap on Tuesday. Today feels like a yucky day, or at least a yucky morning emotionally, but my therapist says I need to be okay with that. At the end of my session, she said, I hope you have a good yucky day. So here's to my good yucky day. What am I going to do to make this yucky day a good yucky day? I'm going to do my habits for the morning. I'm going to do my French lesson on Duolingo, gonna read my Bible. I'm gonna put on a jacket for a little bit because I'm a little chilly, and I think that'll feel good. Same place, new day. Not from when I introed this morning to you, but from yesterday when I was studying this material right here. I'm gonna do it again. A quick review before my 3:30 exam. It's now 1:12. I'm gonna review for a bit and then work on my presentation for Friday. It's almost 7 p.m. I'm back from having some spaghetti for dinner. My test went really well this afternoon, I think. My head really hurts right now. I had a pretty fun meeting with one of my favorite professors this afternoon. Then I had dinner. Now I'm doing some light textbook reading because I've done like no textbook reading so far this week. I want to feel like I'm being productive, but I don't have the energy for any of the hard work, and I've been doing lots of like hard work this week. Like I've specifically been putting off doing textbook reading, even though I'm like, oh, I'd rather do textbook reading because it's easier, because I've had stuff I've really needed to do. So now I'm doing some. Good morning. It's 10:21 a.m. and I have been a busy bee this morning. I'm about to leave for my class, but I wanted to fill you in before that. So I woke up and I felt like it was a slower morning, but not to the point where like I wanted to sit in bed and just watch Netflix all morning. So I sat in bed and watched like one YouTube video, and then I was like, all right, I'm ready to do stuff but not leave bed. So I read my social psychology textbook in bed, and then while I was getting ready, so I read a chapter for that. And then I sat down and I typed out my little notes for my big thesis presentation tomorrow and printed those out. So those are all ready to go. They're not perfect, but I'm pretty comfortable talking about my thesis. So I just needed like some basics down to know what I meant by what I wrote on the slides. You know, like I wrote like 2 words on the slides and then I'd be like, okay, this is supposed to mean something. So I basically wrote down what it meant. So I'm feeling successful for the day. Looking at my to-do list, I have done the big things. So it's a chill and getting ahead type of day. After my class, I have an important meeting at 12:30, and then tonight I have a cappella, for which I have printed the music, and then I have a general meeting. So that's today. It's 8:47 and I just got home. My organization meeting was pure chaos, as always. It was our first general meeting since Tech Week of the show. If you haven't seen my Tech Week video, check it out there, because we were busy putting on a show. It was really fun to have the gang back together, general meetings and all that stuff. And our advisor showed up, which is always super exciting. Like we were just screaming when he entered the Zoom, because we do it like hybrid, half in person, half online. So that was cool. My throat hurts though, because a cappella rehearsal, I was like basically screaming the baritone part because only one person was singing the baritone part, and so I was trying to help them, but I was like across the room. And then that was fine, except that then I went to the meeting and everybody who's on Zoom has been complaining about the fact that they can't hear us. So I've been speaking really loudly in the meetings. So there's that. This afternoon, I like didn't do any homework because I did so much this morning, and I feel generally caught up and in a place where like I'm good for the weekend to not do homework and do the Squash This readathon that I'm planning on doing. So I'm actually going to end this vlog off here. If you liked it, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up and comment down below what was your favorite part of my week, to see if that makes any sense at all. And subscribe for more reading, writing, and college lifestyle content. And until next time, bye humans, bye!